Hello everyone, my name is Full House and welcome to some BeamNG Drive. It has been a little while since we've played this, not too long, and we've done quite a bit in this game. We've done a bit of track racing, we've done a bit of off-roading, we've done quite a bit of rock crawling and stuff, and I figured it's about time we try something a little different. So what I'm thinking of doing is a time trial. We've got a racetrack that I've gotten some practice around. I think it's Hirochi Raceway. It's the medium layout, and we're going to take various automation creations around the track to see how fast they are. Now, I could make these creations myself, but let's be honest, that'd be kind of boring. So, what I'm going to do instead is take your guys' creations around the track. You guys can build them, you guys can do whatever you want. There's no regulations really with these ones. This is literally just like, show me what you got, basically. Now, first thing we need to do is to set a benchmark, and I've got the perfect car for that. This is, I think it's called the RGB Gary Evo or whatever it is. I think it's going to be the, well, once I figure out all the generation stuff, I think it's going to be technically the third generation of this car. It's sort of a mix between a classic Evo and an R32 GTR. It features a turbocharged inline 4, making around 300-ish horsepower. It has four-wheel drive, and it's not a track car, but it's a relatively sporty road car. So it should do well here. It will understeer a little bit. That's sort of what you'd expect. Hold on. Whoops. Okay, and it is... Crap. Stupid. And go. So yeah. Each competitor will have 3 laps to set the fastest time possible around this track. They'll be starting with cool brakes, no heat in the engine, no nothing. However, that also means overheating brakes will not be as much of an issue. Now, I have done a few laps of this track, but not too many. And most of the laps, no, actually, I think all of the laps, have been in this car. So I have some practice with this car, but I don't really know what you guys, like what your guys' cars are gonna hold for me in terms of just performance. The thing is, the reason I'm limiting it to 3 tries is, first off, it would take forever if we do more. Second off, it means the car needs... oh dear. It means the car needs to be easy to drive. And ultimately, that's a big part of it. You can have the fastest car in the world, but if it's undrivable, then it's not going to... then it won't set a good lap time here. I'm not the best driver in the world. I should put that... I should mention that. So just because I can't drive the car doesn't necessarily mean it's good. However, personally, I think I would consider myself fairly good at being able to tell if a car is good, even if I can't drive it. Okay. Now, for this challenge, I will be turning stability control, all that stuff off. So... basically, you can't rely on electronic aids to get the car to run well. So, that is going to be our first lap time, a 1:32.447. I don't know if that's good or not. Alright, let's put her in first. And there we go. So once that timer starts, then I can leave. Then I can basically start the run. Otherwise, it stalls the car. So, whoopsie daisies. There's some codes. Sorry, I got an email popping up at exactly that moment. That's not very helpful. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, and we're still on for a decent lap. We'll just get the apprentice to pick those up. Alrighty, so, one thing I will say I've kind of been cheeky about. This car, after about 2 laps, it starts to overheat its brakes. So if I'm doing them one at a time like this, then that doesn't become an issue. Although that's partially intentional too, because it's kind of like a lot of people forget to actually put cooling airflow to their brakes and their automation cars. So this means that if you've made that mistake, you still have a chance at having a somewhat decent run. Although near the tail end, there are some heavy braking zones. So your brakes, like, this is fairly heavy on brakes, this track. So if you do have no cooling whatsoever, those last few corners are going to be tricky. Alright, a 130. I think that's a couple seconds faster, is it not? Yes, it is! A 130.1. That's a pretty good lap time. So, I've got one more run to see if we can beat that. Hopefully no emails pop up this time. Alright. Now. Go! So yeah, and I will be sort of, like, I will be authentic to the transmission. This has a manual stick shift, so that's what I'm using. I'm using the stick shift with the clutch. So I am doing my heel and toe. Oh, crap. I may disqualify myself from that. But yeah, that wasn't intentional. I don't think I gained really much time there, so... Okay. Yeah, and anyways, I've lost all that time anyway. I will say, I'm not super knowledgeable about the physics in this game yet, so... Like I said, I've said it in the past, it's not really... Whoops, I used the clutch. This game is more of a crashing simulator than a driving simulator, so sometimes the physics can be a bit iffy. It can be a bit strange to drive at points. I think that 130 is going to be the best we're going to get out of this car. Maybe sometime later down in the series we'll give it another try, see if we improve. But yeah, this is an excellent track for this sort of thing. Because it... I have been a tad mean, just because if you have messed up the brakes slightly, then those last couple corners are really going to hurt your lap time. Okay, yeah, so a 130.165 is going to be the best time placed by our benchmark car. Alright, and yeah, let's see what our competitors have to offer. Alright, so this is going to be the very first car that we run. This is a viewer-submitted car. This was made by Crystal Star, and she's actually submitted a few versions of this car. So I think I've cherry-picked what I think will be the best ones out of all of this. She made an entire lineup of this, which is absolutely awesome. It's really cool to see. And yeah, I'm interested to see what this is. This car is called the Pimp Mobile. This is the GTS version, which is the tame one. It makes only 372 horsepower, which is quite a bit more than the last car we were driving. It weighs in at 3,234 pounds, which is considerably less, but that's probably due to the fact that this is only rear-wheel drive as opposed to the Gary, which was four-wheel drive. It's powered by a twin-turbocharged 3.2-liter V6 engine. So a little bit, like just looking at it, I'm seeing a fair bit of Supra in here. There's a little bit of RX-7 as well, maybe a Mitsubishi Eclipse. It's very sort of 90s Japanese-inspired car. I think it looks quite good, to be honest. But yeah, let's see how it drives, though. As always, it has to be a Crystal Star vehicle. Okay, I don't exactly know what's going on there, but that might just be because I'm running really low-end graphics. So, let's see what this drives like. This is this is the most tame out of all of the cars that have been sent to me, because my viewers are sick and demented and want to see me suffer. So, now that we know it's a manual transmission. Sorry, I saw one of them was sequential, so I assume that's what all of them were, but this being a lower-end model, I guess it would make sense that that's not necessarily true of all of them. So this is mid-engine and rear-wheel drive, so I have to keep that in mind. in Beam, mid-engine cars are quite tricky to drive. They tend to get stuck in passenger slides quite easily. I'm also slightly concerned by that temperature gauge, the way it's jumping up and down the way it is. Okay, yeah, this got... It's very hard to catch slides. And I don't think that's really the car's fault. I think that's more the... Uh-oh. Sorry, Crystal. Sorry about your car. Okay, so this, I'm gonna flip the car over. Okay, now. Oh crap, I can't. Because this is a time trial, I can't do it. Okay, so that is going to be our first run. Our first run will be a DNF. Sorry, Crystal, I broke your car. Anyways, let's try... Okay, this will be our second lap. Alright. So I gotta figure out, like, through the first bit, this is actually really not bad. The car's not really trying to kill me so much as the physics model's trying to kill me. I think if given some time, like if I took some time to practice this, I think it could be quite quick, actually. That's a very Nissan-sounding V6, if that makes any sense. Sounds a bit like a GTR, but I gotta remember, it's not a GTR. That engine's behind me. Like, it's just the noise and the view over the hood. You would think that the engine's up there, but it's not. So it can catch you out. I think if we can string a lap together, I'm willing to bet this is slightly faster than the Gary. It's lighter, it's more powerful, and it's less understeery. Although it's more oversteery. That might not necessarily be a bad thing if I actually know how to drive. So 130 is our time to beat, and I think this car could be capable of beating our benchmark right off the bat. Oh crap, no, no. Come on, go, 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 go. Stop trying to kill me! Alright, that's gonna be our first time. 132. Already faster than the slowest time I did in the last one, so... I think this is faster. The RGB Gary Evo is going to be faster. Or no, sorry, this is going to be faster than the Gary. So, let me just get a drink of water. 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 God loves some water. Alright. I think, let's string a lap together. Just those last few corners, and then this is set. This, I must say, I don't think Crystal has... Oh wait, no, she does have, I think she has Beam. Whatever it is, it drives quite nice, I must say. Now that I've sort of figured it out, as long as I play within the rules here, like, as long as I play ball with the car the way it wants to be driven, it's really not bad. Those brakes are staying nice and cool as well, which is something I was concerned about. No, 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 no. Oh no, we've got an issue. Crap. You know what? I want to see this car succeed. That was completely my fault. And I do apologize. I'm not very good at driving in this game, so I might... If it's just blatantly my fault like that was, then I might decide to restart. I have to say, the more I drive it, the more I like this car. Initially, I was kind of like sketched out by it, but I think it's just I'm not good at driving, to be honest. It's it's a very nice turbocharged engine. It builds its boost early on, and it's just constant, so it feels like I can be very progressive with the throttle. And it's just a very friendly engine. It's just like, hey, I got power here. It's free whenever you are. It doesn't drop tons of horsepower all of a sudden when I'm not ready for it, which is quite nice. It's a good engine, and it's, I think, a fairly well set up car. It's just that oversteer. If I could just tame that oversteer a little bit better. This is definitely good on the brakes as well. If there was some way I could just tame that oversteer a little better, then I think... There we go. Let's just be gentle through here. Alright. Yeah, okay, so that was slower. That was because I spun the car. I think, overall, not a bad car. Really not a bad car. I'm quite impressed. It's very balanced. It has just the right amount of power for what it needs. It's got good grip in the corner. I forgot to check to see what sort of tires it was on. That was my fault. But it grips quite nicely. It handles. It's got a nice balance. It gets into passenger slides very easily. Anyways, now what we're going to do is take the, yeah, now that's the only sensible car we have. So now we go to the Pimp Mobile Gtr. This is a little less sensible. Let me just read you some stats for this car while it's loading. So the GTS had 372 horsepower. This car, using the same 3.2 liter V6, albeit with like more everything, this one makes 826 horsepower. And a very modest 497 pound-feet of torque. It also weighs less. It weighs 2,957 pounds, which is a solid about 300 pounds less than the other one. This is also a twin turbocharged 3.2 liter V6, also rear-wheel drive. So I think it's a race-tuned version. Okay, let me just quickly turn this off. Then I don't know if this is going to be sequential or not. Hold on, I just want to test something here. Okay, so it is, ugh, that's not what I meant to do. So this is a sequential car. Okay, good to keep in mind. So, you heard it already. It's a screamer, this car. Oh, I should mention one thing. I did look at the automation stats a bit beforehand. This car, it's kind of being built within an inch of its life in terms of engine. So I think there is a suitable chance that this might blow its engine to bits before we finish a lap. Oh my gosh, this is actually quite not bad. Whoa, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. This is, you know what, I will say, this is a tad bit more, uh-oh. There it is. Come on. Go. Okay, I just need to keep the back end back where it's supposed to be. Jeez, that's a lot of boost going into that. Going into the motor. There's a happy medium in here. I will say it does understeer a fair bit, but I'm kind of thankful for that, if I'm honest. This is going to be much faster than the Gary. There's no question about it. Oh, that power is terrifying, though. Interesting that... Okay, so this one was... So this is already the fastest Pimp Mobile that's gone around here. And that was the first lap, and it had a spin. So that's pretty promising, I have to say. Alright. Alright, go. So, as long as it's not blowing its engine to bits, which is good. Okay, mid-corner, that actually feels pretty good. Alright, come on. I gotta be a bit braver. It's the power that upsets the car, really, because off power, it's really quite stable. But I can't use the power on this. Uh-oh. Okay. Again, the brakes... I think I just have to get used to the brakes. Whoa, okay, turn in. So you remember how the last engine was nice and progressive? This isn't. So, or maybe it is, but it's just so much power that it doesn't matter. Oh no, 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 no. Come on. Yeah, this is not... This is a bit mental, this car. Not terrible to drive. Definitely not terrible to drive. But... Come on, come on. It's easier to cat... Okay, that's a new record. A very fast new record. That easily knocked... what is that? That's like 7 seconds ahead. And we can go much faster in this. Alright, so this will be the final run with the car. I won't be using all 800 horsepower, but I think we can get a fairly decent lap out of it. I hit the forward pedal a little bit too soon. When it's not being overwhelmed by its power, this is actually really not a bad vehicle. It is very well balanced. I think Crystal's done a good job with making like a nice, well-balanced mid-engine car. What she's done is sort of the proper thing. This doesn't rotate as much as the less powerful one, but that's a good thing. That lower amount of rotation means that you can use the power a bit better. But you can see the throttle, just how much I'm actually using here. Like, I think I've gotten a full throttle maybe twice in this lap. Alright, come on. Let's see what we can do with it. Oh yeah, that curb can roll cars too, by the way, which we'll try not to do. This last corner is mean. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it just seems to upset cars. There we go. That's the sort of lap time I was looking for out of this thing. That's a good lap time. That is a very good lap time. I am impressed. However, there is one version of this car that is even faster. And it is, perhaps unsurprisingly, it's called the... Okay, where is it? Here. It's the Ivan Glass Le Mans edition. So it has the same amount of power as the GTR. However, it's even lighter. It weighs in at 2,804 pounds, so that shaves another about 200 pounds off of the thing. And yeah, we're gonna see what that does. So the Pimp Mobile Gtr currently owns the lap record, but I think, assuming the Le Mans is set up properly, I think it can beat that record. So yeah, as you can see, it's got the mandatory massive turbo sticker on the side. It's got this thing. I don't know what that is, but it's got a massive wing, and that's ultimately like 300 horsepower worth right there. Okay, let's see what have you done, Crystal? That feels a tad more stable, I must say. Whoa, okay, I don't think I have any driver aids. I think that's how that's how she's saved weight. I think she's taken the driver aids out. Which is fine until we get to a braking zone. Yeah, no, we got no ABS, no nothing. Okay, ABS is not something I turn off, by the way. I turn off all the other driving aids, but ABS I tend to leave on. It's really hard to get the brakes right in automation, so that's the main reason why. Oof. Ah! This thing is gonna try and kill... Uh-oh. I think I've broken it. Yeah. Okay. I have broken it. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, this will be attempt number 2. That was the car's fault, I think. Albeit I could have been better on the brakes, but... So basically, I think what she's done is strip the car out of any sort of driver aids, any sort of... anything, like, safety related. That's the true Ivan Glass way, I have to say, but I can't trust this on the brakes. There we go. It will stop, but I have to be very, very careful on the brakes and the throttle. So I think it does feel like she's tuned it again to make it a bit less rotatey yet again. Although maybe that's the weight loss doing that, or the massive wing. But when going... Okay, I'm gonna brake a little earlier, because I don't really trust the brakes on this. I think it's the fronts are locking up. Normally ABS, you can sort of mitigate that, but if you don't have ABS, then kinda, if you have an iffy brake balance, that's kind of sort of exposed there. Mid-engine cars, you want sort of front and rear brakes to be a bit closer together. Alright, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. It's still a few seconds off of the GTR, but I think there's a faster car in here. Let's do this thing. I think there's a couple more seconds in it, but we've got to be careful about the power, because it wants to spin. I don't exactly know what tires are on this. I don't know if they're semi-slicks or not. Well, they must be at the very least sports compound tires, but I don't know if they're semi-slicks or not. Come on, stop. There we go. I will say, this challenge, too, is sort of teaching me how to drive better in BeamNG, which is quite nice. This is not a bad setup car. I won't lie, I was a bit more concerned when I first saw the 800 horsepower number. I was very concerned about this car, but it's really not terrible. It's really quite... It's well balanced. I think she set up the car quite well. I'm just not very good at driving, and I think that's the main issue here, not the car. I think it's got a bit too much power. I think if it had 500 or 600 horsepower, that would be the perfect balance for this. Yeah. Okay. I think that's a fairly good representation of what that car can... Oh, goodbye, wheel. That's a pretty good representation of the car. I think the Pimp Mobile is a pretty good car. Now, that isn't the only car we've got to test today, though. You can see, I could probably bring the forklift around here at some point. So the next one was submitted by our very own Scrobbles. It's the Rex Hyper Vector Plus. And this one is slightly concerning because in automation it said this has terminal oversteer. So, it'll be interesting to drive. This thing, compared to the GTR, it makes a bit less power. It makes only 706 horsepower. And it weighs in at 2,654 pounds, making it the lightest car of the day. Its rear-wheel drive also has a V6, twin turbocharge, and this one's a 3.1 as opposed to a 3.2. Alright, so I am just going to quickly do that, turn that off, and get ready to go here. I don't... Oh crap, this is a sequential car, so I gotta sort of spam through the gears slightly. Okay, so it's already rotating quite a bit, which is concerning, but... Okay. Oh, okay. I think I found that terminal oversteer. Scrobbles, what have you made? So this sounds like a bit more sensible V6 in a bit less sensible car. I will say, I think I could probably use that rotation if I was good enough at this game, but it does have oversteer. I'm not 100% convinced it's really, oh gosh, terminal. Alright, I think we got away with it. So I'm so used to how much the Pimp Mobile revs that I'm kind of just expecting there to be more RPM there. This revs pretty high at almost 8,000 RPM, but it's just, it sounds so small, like it sounds so weird having a car that doesn't rev to like 10,000 RPM now. Okay. Yeah, Crystal's like me in that she likes cars that rev to the moon and back. Okay, well, never give up. We're going to finish this. There we go. A 137. Not the best run I've ever done in my life. I think that is the slowest time. I think there's a decent car in here, but I'm kind of scared of it, if I'm honest. Alright, let's give it a bit more, Oh, crap. This thing is just so Larry. Crap. Scrobbles, what have you done? You're a madman. That's very terminal oversteer. And now I think there's damage to the car because it's not driving straight anymore. Darn it, I think if you could get a bit more sort of rear-end grip on it. Honestly, I think some thinner front tires would be a huge help here. Because I think this thing just has massive front tires. He's just put massive tires on all four corners in a mid-engine car, and that's kind of making it hard to drive. If this had much skinnier front tires, I think the sort of mid-engine balance would help make it, but as it is right now, I'm just constantly fighting the rotation of the car. Again, part of that is just because I'm not used to how BeamNG handles, but I'll be honest, I think that's a flaw on the car, not on me. Like, I can't trust the thing. I'm constantly fighting it, and even when I'm sort of babying it, it's still not having it. It's still just trying to rotate and kill me. It's basically a Stratos, which I think is what they're banking on, because I like that car. Yeah, there we go. Into the wall you go. So, 12th. So, yeah, no, we set a new slowest lap time. So we got one more shot to try and get a decent lap out of this monster. Alright, so I am going to be a bit more careful with it. So this is also a bit of a boost monster, too. Like, it just, at higher RPM, it just kicks boost in, which, I suspect Scrobbles made this car to try and kill me. Which it has done very effectively. But yeah, you just see how much boost it starts to throw in the car. Alright, let's see if I can maybe get a decent lap time out of this car. This is an excellent track, by the way. I have to say, give the BeamNG devs some credit. This is an excellent racetrack. I don't know if it's based on a real-world one or not. I'm pretty sure, well, Hirochi Raceway is fictional, but I don't know if it's really based on a real-world racetrack, but it feels really nice to drive. It's got a good flow to it. I could see a GT3 race going around here. Alright, come on, car. Work with me here. So yeah, it's at about 7/10. This car is actually quite happy. It's just when you try and lean on it, that's when the car starts to have issues. Still faster than the Gary though, which is unfortunate. The Gary had like street tires on it though, and I suspect this had race tires, so that's a third place. I will give it credit. Not quite as fast as the Pimp Mobile, but it's still faster than the Gary. Alright, and now finally we're on to our last car of the day. It is another one by Scrobbles. It's called the Scrub Sport Eagle, and apparently it's a continuation of the Rex, and supposedly better. So I think, technically, I think this was supposed to make the Rex obsolete, but never mind that. I am a little concerned by the skinnier rear tires, but they're fairly thick rear tires. It's just they're kind of sunk in. It's a good looking car, I think. Personally, I think it needs a bit more detail, and I'll be honest, I think these should be a bit down there, but other than that, that's really not a bad looking car. I'm looking forward to driving it. This has a 5-liter twin turbocharged V8. So our first V8 of the series. We've been mostly at 6 and 4 cylinders so far. So I'm interested to see what this drives like. That sounds really good too. Alright. Alright, let's just see what you got. Again, mid-engine, as all the cars have been. Mid-engine rear-wheel drive. Okay, that's not a bad thing. That's actually... okay. Oh, okay. It locks up the brakes despite having ABS. That's not very helpful. However, other than the brakes, I'm actually quite impressed. I am actually very impressed with how this is handling so far. This feels... oh crap. This feels very well set up. I have to give him credit. Ah, those brakes. I have to get my head wrapped around the brakes. I'll have to say, now that I'm driving it, I don't think this has been the best sounding car, despite being the biggest V8 fan in the world. I think the Pimp Mobile has been the best sounding car we've had thus far. So 130. That's not bad considering the issues we've had with it. That puts it in 6th place. So now let's give it a second try. I want to see what this thing can do. It puts down its power quite well, despite the despite me obviously having traction control and stability control turned off. But yeah, I think it's definitely got too much brake pressure at the front, and that's causing lockups despite the ABS. Like, I don't think the ABS, quite frankly, can deal with it, so I'm gonna have to brake very early to compensate for that. But yeah, you even hear it. You could hear it chirping away as it's trying to break those front tires loose. Oh, that's the problem. Sometimes automation doesn't do a very good job of the brakes. It seems like sometimes the brakes it recommends... okay, something's scraping. Sometimes it recommends very small brakes, and I'm not sure why that is. Uh-oh. I just can't steer now. Okay. I think that's going to be that run counted out. So, if I can manage the brakes, I think this is a decent car. Just got to sort of spam through the gears there. This is very good at putting its power down. I have to give absolute credit. If it wasn't for the brakes, I think this would be, like, this has been my favorite car to drive so far. The only thing I dislike is the brakes, and unfortunately that's quite an important part of how a car drives. So if I brake at the just before the 2 board, even that is just not enough. Like, the ABS is desperately trying to claw back the braking with so, like, it's just a futile effort. It's just got nothing it can do about it. That's a damn shame, because the rest of the car is brilliant fun to drive. So yeah, it is mid-engine, which means some delicate throttle control is needed, but that's sort of what you'd expect from a mid-engine car, right? So yeah, I will say, this is a very well-balanced mid-engine car. I can get on the power much earlier, too. Alright, so that is within a second of the Pimp Mobile Gtr, which has been the fastest thus far. So, I won't lie, the RGB has not proved to be a very tough benchmark to beat. But, despite that, I'm very impressed with the cars. They all have very different characters to them, despite being very similar. They're all mid-engine rear-wheel drive cars, but they just handled so differently. They're so strong in so many different spots. If this car had the brakes from the Pimp Mobile, I think it would be easily the fastest car here. But the simple fact is, that Pimp Mobile, despite being scary on power, I can control that. I can control the power better than I can control the, like, just locking up. So, the simple fact is, I think, as of right now, the Pimp Mobile GTR is our leader. Now, if you want to submit your own automation creations, there's no real limitations to this. We're just seeing what sort of monstrosities you can make. It can be anything from a stupid 60s muscle car with no suspension to a modern sort of GT3 car if you want. But yeah, feel free to post away in Discord, and hopefully we'll have enough cars that we can do another episode of this. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!